So we're coming up at the end of the year, and you may have noticed some things have changed this year. And that's because of COVID-19. So maybe you're not going to school in person and you're doing it virtually. Or we're not seeing our friends and family as often as we used to. Things have definitely changed. And the reason for that is to stay safe and healthy. Everything that we're doing, like doing school virtually, is to make sure that we're staying healthy and making sure that our friends and family, anyone that we see, is also staying healthy too. There are some things that we can do on top of staying home and going to school or staying home with our family, just hanging out there. There's a couple things that we can do to make sure we keep ourselves and everyone we see healthy. Let's find out some of our tips. Our first tip is to wear a mask. You may have noticed when you go outside of your home that people are wearing face masks over their mouth. Maybe you wear one yourself. Now, I'm going to show you my face mask. I make sure that I bring my face mask everywhere I go because I never know when I might need it. Even if I'm playing outside, I might run into somebody and have to talk to them. And if I do, I have to put on my mask. So let me show you how I put on my mask. I start with one ear, whatever one's your favorite, and I take this loop. You probably have a loop too on your mask. And I put it over one ear, and then I drag it across, and I make sure it's covering my nose and my chin. So watch. It's over my nose and my chin now, and then I'm going to my other ear, and I'm pulling it over. See? Now I'm wearing my mask. You probably wear your mask too when you go out. And that's great because you're keeping yourself safe and others around you safe too. Our other tip is to wash your hands. Now this might seem like something you do all the time, right? We go to the bathroom, we wash our hands. But we need to do it a lot more often. So before we eat, we wash our hands. Or when you're going outside of your home and you're really touching things, we should be washing our hands too, or using hand sanitizer when we can't be by a sink. But something that's really important is that we're just not sticking our hands underneath the water and saying we washed our hands. We need to wash our hands with soap too, and for 20 seconds. Now you might be thinking, how do I know if it's been 20 seconds? When I wash my hands, I like to sing the ABCs because if I start off singing the ABCs, it takes around 20 seconds to do that. And when we wash our hands, we want to make sure we're not just washing our palms of our hands. We want on top really good and on top of this hand too, but especially in between our fingers. There's a lot of germs that like to hide in those spots. So make sure that you are moving your soap and water in between your fingers too. Remember, sing the ABCs or even count to 20 while you're washing your hands, and that will help you stay healthy. All right, our third tip is to make sure that we're doing something called social distancing. Maybe you've heard of social distancing, but you don't know what it is, and that's okay. What social distancing is making sure we're at least 6 feet apart from somebody, especially if they don't live in the same house as us and we don't see them very often. Even in very crowded areas, we should social distance, like the grocery store, making sure that we are staying 6 feet apart from people. So sometimes that might take you backing up a little bit, and that's okay. We just want to make sure that we are giving people enough space. We want to make sure that space is at least 6 feet. Our fourth tip is to make sure that we are staying home as much as possible. Now, this might not seem like a lot of fun, but there's a lot of fun things that we can be doing at home that also include our friends and family who don't live there. I know I like to call my friends and catch up, or if I want to see them but I can't be with them, even doing a little video chat. There's a lot of fun things that you can still do, playing games with them or even watching a movie together, just at separate homes. Our fifth tip is to make sure that if we have to sneeze or cough, we are not using our hands. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of times if we sneeze, we like to cover our mouth, right? This is a way that we don't have any germs coming out. We're blocking them. But guess what? Then our germs land on our hands, and I might have to touch something right afterwards. That means that my germs from my sneeze or cough are going to be all over everything that I touch, and that's not okay. But we still need to make sure that we're covering up our mouth when we sneeze and cough. So what can we do? We can use our handy dandy elbow. It doesn't matter which one you use, but instead of blocking our cough with our hands or our fist, we do our elbow. That way, it blocks all the germs, but I don't use my elbow to pick up anything, so it's not going to spread around. So make sure if you need to sneeze or cough, we're using our elbow. So our last tip with staying healthy is to make sure that we are getting plenty of sleep, eating healthy, and exercising. But on top of all of that, making sure that we are following these guidelines. All the little things that we do add up to make sure that we are protecting ourselves and those around us from getting sick. So there are plenty of things that we can do in order to stay healthy. But you may still have some questions that I didn't cover from this, and that's okay. There's a lot of places that we can look to make sure that we are following the guidelines and have all the tips we need. We can go to our parents or to any of our health professionals like our doctor. We can also do some activities and watch videos on brainpop.com to help us learn some more about how we can stay healthy during this time. But if you have any more questions, you and your family can also go to the cdc.gov website. That will have a whole bunch of guidelines for you to follow and amazing tips. I hope the community follows these guidelines and stays safe and healthy over this holiday season. Together, we can make a really big difference. And speaking of the holidays, make sure you come back and check out the Treehouse's Christmas special. See you then.